Africa 55, presenting authentic insights and commentary on African matters. Your host is Maureen Wangati Gnagbo, evaluation expert, founder and CEO of the A55. Karibuni.
Hi A55, we're back again. Welcome again to another show. We're back with our favorite medical consultant, Professor Dr. Walter Joko. And we have a couple of questions for Dr. Joko. Welcome, Dr. Joko. How have you been? Have you been keeping safe?
Thank you. I am. I'm keeping safe. Thank you.
You've been keeping safe? Great. I know we only have a couple of minutes with you as you go back to your meeting. I just have a couple of questions. One, what are your views about the allegations by the Tanzanian president about the test kits being faulty? The COVID test kits.
Yeah, thank you. I personally, as a scientist, take it with a lot of a pinch of salt. Tests can be faulty, but usually in a test kit, you also have something we call a control. So a control will be able to tell you whether the particular kits are faulty or not. But the allegation that parts of plants and specimen obtained from things that would not have the DNA of the RNA of COVID-19 causing virus, to me is really suspect. But you see, this is one person's word versus the other. I would need to really get the details from the people who did the tests, whether what is being alleged is true. What you know in other tests is that you'll be able to tell when you run, and you can be able to tell whether kit is telling you giving you correct results or not. But in this situation, it's really suspect.
Oh, I see. It's the actual situation that is suspect, because we know that Spain and countries such as the Netherlands also returned test kits or complained about faulty test kits. So it is a possibility that an African country may also receive a test kit that is not, meet up to standard.
Yeah, the difference would be like in what you're referring to Spain and other countries. It is the laboratory technologist or the person running the test who can tell that this is faulty because of what you call controls. But here is a situation where it is alleged that the laboratory released the results, which were false positive. And so that is where the difference is. If it was the lab that was saying we received this specimen, the negative run is showing negative, but the test is showing positive, then you'd be able to understand. You know that the kit is faulty, but you do not detect fault at the point of the results having been released.
What is your view about the therapy that is coming from Madagascar? Have you seen it? Have you seen the drug? It's not a drug therapy, it's like a concoction, like a drug, a drink.
Yeah,
what is
it
made of?
Thoughts about it. The difference though is this, but that is a herbal product, and the people who deal with herbal medicine give results, indicate that the products are working without doing tests. Conventional medicine, what you would do, you would not be able to say that a product is working or not until you've conducted tests. Now, the story coming from Madagascar is just allegation that several people were given this and they felt better. What I would urge the country, if I was in their shoes, is then to do what you call a clinical trial, where you give some people the product and some people you don't give the product, and you follow them up and see whether the people who are given this product are recovering as opposed to those who do not get the product. That is what we do in conventional medicine. So you hear many drugs being tested now. They're undergoing a process we call a clinical trial. And that is when you get good evidence that the product is working.
Okay. Now, I saw that you wrote, thank you very much for that response. I saw that you wrote an article on vaccine trials and said, and you're a proponent for vaccine trials in Kenya, that Kenya should not be left behind in the vaccine trials. Can you tell us a little bit about that? To what extent are we participating in vaccine trials Is there informed consent of those who are participating in the trial, if at all?
Yes, thank you. I wrote the article, not actually just Kenya, but the whole of Africa. There have been arguments that Africa should not take part in these trials. And my argument is that that is a baseless argument. One of the things that we know about drugs and vaccines is that different drugs and vaccines might have different effects in different populations. And so if Africa is left out of participating in these trials, we might never be sure whether whatever will be developed will be able to protect Africans when now the product is being marketed. And I think also a lot of misinformation has gone out there. Talk of Africa being used as guinea pigs and so on. And so the article clarifying that actually that is not the case. There are a lot of products that we use in Africa that were tested in Europe and in the West, where that particular disease that is being prevented by those vaccines do not exist there. And so if we're saying that people participating in trials are guinea pigs, then that would also be a reverse situation where, for example, Europeans take part in testing Ebola vaccine, malaria vaccine, for these conditions which are not happening in their country. So I was arguing that the tag of labeling people guinea pigs is really misinformed. With regard to the clinical trials taking place, with regard to clinical trials taking place in Kenya, at the moment you don't have any going on, but they're at the stage of being evaluated. Before you conduct a clinical trial, you submit what is called a protocol, and people go through it. There are several bodies that go through it. So there are several protocols that have been submitted to Kenya, and the relevant committees are in the process of reviewing them to see their suitability for being conducted in Kenya. So probably in a month or two, we'll be able to know whether they have been approved or not.
Oh, I see. Okay. And is for example, Africa part of the development of vaccines? Or are we going to be trying vaccines that are developed in other countries only?
Thank you for that question. Thank you for that. Because, yes, thank you for that question. Actually, what you're raising is a very important question. Should we participate in the vaccine, or we'll just be given vaccines that have been tried elsewhere? My argument is that we should participate in the vaccine so that when we are getting this vaccine after it has been shown to be effective, we know that it is also effective in our population because we participated in the trial, rather than just get a vaccine that has been tested elsewhere in a different population with a different nutritional status, different genetic makeup, different disease exposure, and we say that because it has worked elsewhere, we should be able to just give it here in Kenya. Not only that, why should Africa be left out in efforts to get a solution to the problem? COVID is a global problem, and Africa should have its rightful place in participating in finding this solution, rather than us saying we're not going to be involved in developing or testing this vaccine, but once somebody has found a vaccine working, we want those vaccines. So that is the argument in the article.
Yes. Thank you very much for your